I believe that every game is a masterpiece in its own right, and that there was a caring, loving team that put their heart and soul into every single puzzle piece that fits together to make it that game. But every once in a while, we stumble upon a game that strikes us like no other. Those are the gems of gaming. In most games, when you're playing them, you're playing out an adventure, creating a story. But there are some games that break this mold. Bastion is one of those games that break this mold. We played through this game in the near past, while Rex, a character in this game, is telling the story. Rex's lovely voice is voiced by Logan Cunningham, and he narrates the story while we play through it. We later find out that Rex is telling the story to another character named Zia. The game starts off with narration of Rex telling Zia that there is no beginning to this story, and thrusts us into a broken world. But first, we meet the kid, who wakes up in his bed only to discover that his beloved city, Solandia, has been destroyed. The first part acts as a tutorial, without the tedious task of just solely learning the controls. Something disastrous has hit the city, and we must reach the Bastion, where everyone has agreed to meet in case of a disaster. As we play through the level, the stage builds itself under our feet, paving the way for us. On our way to the Bastion, we discover that some people have turned to stone. We are faced with the idea that not everyone has made it out. Once we reach the Bastion, only one person lays waiting for us, Rex. Here's where Rex explains that he is the only one here, and fears that we may be the only people that survived. He sets us off onto our mission of powering up the Bastion by collecting cores that once allowed the city of Solandia to survive, but now they will be used to build up the Bastion, allowing us to build structures to help us in our journey. We can build things like arsenals, to allow us to change our weapon loadout, or a distillery, which allows us to add bonuses for every level up. There are a total of 6 buildings we can build. Rex also leaves us with the task of looking out for any survivors, and the first survivor we meet is Zulf, an Ura. The Ura were once at war with Solandia. While trying to collect more cores, we meet our last Bastion crew member, or at least in this story. We are drawn to Zia from her beautiful singing, and this is where we discover that Rex is telling the kid's story to Zia. Zia is an Ura that was raised in Solandia. While the kid is out finding the last core, back at the Bastion, Zulf decodes a journal that revealed that Solandia had built a weapon to destroy the Ura for good, in hopes to prevent another war. But Zia's father, who worked on the weapon, rigged it to also take out Solandia, which is what caused the calamity. Upon discovering this, Zulf destroys the device that allowed the Bastion to use the cores, the monument, and leaves. So when the kid returns with the final core, with the hopes of finally being able to start to rebuild, he comes back to the monument being destroyed. After he places the final core in, he now needs to head off to find shards to fix the monument. On the return of one of our missions for a shard, we are greeted with an attack by the surviving Ura at the Bastion. Throughout the game, we find collectibles, and one of the collectible types is called Memento. We can pick them up and ask Rex, Zia, or even Zulf when he was back at the Bastion about the mementos to learn more about the world before the calamity. Some of these mementos do add to the Bastion, like getting a pet ankle gator or a baby pecker. Our little friends will help us fend off the Bastion from the Ura attack, but unfortunately if we're not fast enough fighting off the Ura, they can die. After the fight, the Bastion is left in ruins. Zia was kidnapped. Rex predicts she was taken back to the Ura homeland. The last shard can be used to repair the Bastion, but the Ura are protecting it. So we head to the Ura homeland to find the shard and rescue Zia. When we find Zia, we discover that she was not in fact kidnapped, but she left willingly with the Ura to see the truth for herself. Now for our final journey to find the last shard. Once we enter the final level, there is no turning back to the Bastion until the task is complete. This is where Rex's story catches up to the present. When he is talking to Zia, he has no clue what is happening because it hasn't happened yet. Going through the heart of the Ura homeland, we are attacked by Ura left and right, but we wipe them out as fast as they come. We eventually find a battering ram that allows us to bulldoze through obstacles and enemies with ease, allowing us to obtain the last shard. After obtaining the last shard, we run into Zulf, who is getting beat up by his people, blaming him for bringing the kid here and devastating the last of their people. Here, we are faced with the choice. Going through the whole game of just collecting shards and cores and fighting, this choice throws us for a loop. My first time playing this game, I was staring at the screen for a good few minutes, paralyzed with the fact that we are faced with the choice. We can either leave Zulf behind, potentially leaving him to die. After all, he did attack us and destroy the Bastion. Or we can leave our weapon behind, leaving us defenseless, as we carry the injured Zulf on our back. Every playthrough I've played, I've rescued Zulf, not being able to bring myself to leave him behind. If we choose to leave Zulf behind, we continue with the battering ram, taking out the remaining Ura that try to stop us from returning to the Bastion with the shard. But if we decide to take Zulf with us, we leave the battering ram behind, throwing Zulf on our back and slowly heading to the Bastion. The Ura fire at us, but we are defenseless, only able to take the bullets. As we travel deeper into the Ura forest, the firing begins to cease, and the Ura just stand back, watching us. When one of the Ura decide to attack, he is taken down by a comrade nearby. Once we return to the Bastion and place the last shard in, we are forced with another choice. Go back to the Bastion before the calamity, or repair the Bastion and explore what's left of the world. Rex is all for going back, and you can talk to him about it with some mementos as he makes his case for why we should go back. Zia wants to stay, and she makes her case while we talk to her about some mementos. If we do go back in time before the calamity hit, we can gather as many people into the Bastion, saving them, but we also risk going back and not remembering what has happened. Or we stay, explore the world, build it back up, and potentially find more survivors. Whatever choice you make, this is the end of the story. The consequences of your choices is left unknown, leaving it for the gang to figure it out on their own. This game is well made and offers a full experience. The music in this game fits perfectly for what's happening, and Zia and Zul's songs are absolutely stunning. There are multiple weapons to find, as well as special abilities we can use with a Black Tonic. We can carry 2 weapons along with 1 special ability. We can change the loadout at the arsenal whenever we return back to the Bastion, or if we run across one in a level. There are proving grounds for every weapon, where we only have that weapon and must complete the task at hand. If we meet a certain requirement, we can get a reward at the end. The more efficient we are able to use the weapon, the easier it is to get the rewards. This helps us learn each weapon's capabilities and learn skills we can take into battle. The distillery allows us to add bonuses such as accuracy percentage or increased health potions. We have 1 slot for each level we gain. The forge allows us to upgrade weapons if we have the materials and enough fragments. The Lost and Found is a place where we can buy materials, mementos, special abilities, and anything else that we may have missed in the level, since we can't go back to a previous level. The memorial is for all lives lost in the calamity, and gives us small goals to achieve while looking for cores and shards, giving us an award if we complete them. Last but not least is the shrine. We can find idols that we can place in the shrine, and if we activate them, they'll do things like make the enemy stronger for a short time, but also giving us more fragments. These are good for challenges or if you need whatever benefits they provide. As amazing and well developed as this game is, it was only made by 7 people. These 7 people formed Supergiant Games, and they wanted a small team so they can explore different ideas for games. Bastion was their first game. Gen Z was the artist for the game and went for a hand-painted look that helped soften the rigidness of a devastated world, bringing beauty and destruction. Gen Z was inspired by the pixel art of earlier Japanese isometric games. This game deserves a look at if you haven't played it before, and is definitely a must-play. It's also available on most major platforms, so it's very well available. The narration, the art design, and the music, it will all pull you in, and they won't allow you to forget this game anytime soon. Through hard work and imaginative design, this small team was able to create a beautiful, enjoyable, well-developed game that definitely deserves the title of being a gem of gaming. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a game that you think is deserving to be part of the lineup of Gems of Gaming, please let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more in the future, and be sure to follow me on Twitch at MeloJoe64. I stream every Wednesday for more Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Pacific Time. Thanks for watching once again, and I'll see you next time.